Joining me is Rowan Dean, Editor-in-Chief of The Spectator Australian, host of Outsiders each Sunday here on Sky News at 9 a.m. Rowan Dean, I mean, this is, what we heard today was just so bizarre, so lunatic. I'll come back to that word. It's lunatic. What did you make of it all?
Well, first of all, Andrew, I thought your comments earlier was superb. This is so insane. It beggars belief. If this government weren't already so ridiculous in the things that they have done and the ideas, so-called, that they put forward. But this idea, which, as you said, Mike Burgess kind of belled the cat by suggesting that, we don't actually care if you support Hamas, we'll still let you into the country if you support Hamas, so long as you don't, actively support Hamas. What does he mean by that? So long as you don't actively go around beheading babies, so long as you don't actively go around raping people, so long as you don't actively go around murdering and torturing people, as we saw on October 7th in one of the greatest atrocities, certainly of the modern era, in which, and it's horrible to say this, but the statistics and the polls since have borne this out, a large majority, perhaps as high as 70%, of the population of Gaza supported the actions of Hamas. Now, they didn't support the blind political ideology of Hamas in some kind of abstract way. They supported the dismemberment, the active, disgusting, dehumanizing things done to Jewish people. They supported that, knowing what was involved. And even worse, members of the public we now know were also involved. So the idea that you can say, now I've been saying on your program, Andrew, and on Outsiders for weeks, if not months, we cannot let a single individual from Gaza come into this country unless we are 100% sure that A, they do not harbour any kind of support for Hamas, but more importantly, as per the German immigration model, which I've mentioned several times, the German immigration model vets all people migrating into Germany now for any kind of anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish beliefs or ideas. The fact that we've done none of that is a disgrace.
If it wasn't so serious, it is comic. I mean, how is it that in 2014, you, Rowan Dean, have to be on the TV saying it might not be a good idea to import people who say they support one of the world's worst terrorist groups? I mean, it goes to the point, how does the Albanese government, how does ASIO think it's in our benefit to import people? I mean, the UN says there are 117 million people around the world who are refugees, and this government goes to Gaza to pick out under 3,000, including people who do support Hamas, and says, no, of all the 170 million, we want these ones. How does that help us, Rowan? It is.
Well, it's such a dereliction of duty, Andrew. It's a dereliction of duty that shows utter contempt for the Jewish people of this nation, utter contempt for those who support the Jewish people of this nation, utter contempt for anyone who holds even the most basic civilized norms of, well, actually, you don't go around raping and murdering people if you disagree with them politically. So the contempt that the Albanese government, and let's not forget that Penny Wong has reinforced this contempt at every single opportunity she has had. She has reinforced that, in her view, it would appear the Israelis will always come second to the interests of the opposite side, the Palestinians or whatever you want to call it. So the contempt for the Australian Jew, the contempt for those who support or maybe have strong feelings for or neighbours of Jewish people who wish them well and wish them nothing but well, the utter contempt the Albanese Wong government, with those ministers from the western suburbs of Sydney that you mentioned earlier, hold Australian Jewry in utter contempt and must be condemned for such. But as you said, the Monty Python nature of this idea that you can come in if you support Hamas, as long as you don't kind of, do it too strongly,
only a little bit.
Disgraceful.
Only a little bit, Rowan. You can support
only a little
Hamas
bit, yeah, exactly.
This much, but not that much, you know, somewhere on this sliding ruler that they somehow have. I wonder how it goes, you know. They've got a ruler the length of my desk, and they say, indicate this is just not really support. That's a lot of support. Where exactly on this scale are you? Oh, that's just, I mean, it's just obscene. Hey, by the way, obviously,
well, black humour would define that. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, but well, black humour. But we're talking about our national security. But obviously, Peter Dutton, I thought,
exactly.
Well, you tell me. He made a captain's call this morning. I don't think he consulted anyone, or not many, certainly not his full cabinet, to say no to any refugees from Gaza. In fact, the Prime Minister's going around saying it was a thought bubble, or, you know, he's off in a frolic of his own. He's been called heartless. He's been called even racist for that. What do you call him?
I call it brilliant and genius, and a reason why every single person in Australia should be putting Peter Dutton in the lodge. It's called moral clarity, something I've been talking about, something you've been talking about for months now. You must have moral clarity on this issue, and Peter Dutton is 100% correct. By the way, in saying that he will take no one from Gaza, Peter Dutton is no different to the Egyptians, the Saudis, the Jordanians, in fact, all the Muslim world are saying, no thanks, we don't want this mob. So Peter Dutton is actually in good company. I think the Muslims of Western Sydney and Western Melbourne should be saying, hear, hear, Peter Dutton is on our side, because the countries we come from as well, they're saying no to anybody from Gaza. So Peter Dutton is on the right side of history. But in all seriousness, Andrew, you have to have a Prime Minister who has that moral clarity to know when to say no.
That gut feeling.
You cannot put Australian lives at risk.
It's a gut feeling, Rowan. It's a moral clarity, but I think you're absolutely correct. But it should be one that, you got the gut instinct that, of course, this is wrong. But there's the Prime Minister saying, Asia